This kind of pressure sometimes people doesn't know how to handle it. It's hard to bet against focused Khamzat, healthy Khamzat. I think he can beat anyone on any given day. As talent, as technique, it's Khamzat. If you go to the third and fourth and fifth round, how this fight gonna go? I believe Khamzat can go there. Did to him what he did to Robert Whittaker. 100%, I believe this.
I think he's just a powerhouse and he's so good at it, he's gonna back himself. And that's why he will be dangerous early. Can he get the finish early? Maybe. He could get the finish. I think his best bet is getting that finish early because he will get him down. He might even be able to get him in some chokes. Dricus might be strong enough to get him in positions that he's safe enough to survive and not let,
It started with a stare that wouldn't blink, a quick shove, and a wave of noise ripping across the arena. Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis didn't need microphones. Their posture said everything. That's the chaos Joe Rogan loves to read, because pressure exposes truth. When two men certain they can break the other stand nose to nose, highlight reels fade and instincts take over. Rogan's reaction lands right there. Measure the nerves, the breath, the composure, then follow the style clash to its brutal conclusion. This fight lives on two questions. Can Khamzat force the pace instantly, and can Dricus keep his balance long enough to drag him into deep water? Rogan's first instinct is to distill matchups to rhythm. Khamzat's rhythm is a riptide. He covers distance in a blink, clamps a leg from what seems like too far away, and drags opponents into a tide they can't escape. The fear isn't just the takedown, it's the lack of oxygen that follows. But 5 rounds are a different country, and that's where Dricus becomes fascinating. He doesn't just survive early storms, he mutates mid-fight. He's awkward in ways that ruin clean techniques, and stubborn in ways that frustrate perfect game plans. Rogan respects that because stubbornness, when matched with power, steals time. That hallway moment was more than theater, it was a stress test. Dricus didn't flinch. He planted his feet and stared back like a man inviting a long, miserable wrestle. Khamzat did what he always does, projected the aura that says, when I go, you go with me. Rogan studies those microsignals. He watches the chest, the bounce, the eyes. Confidence is cardio for the mind. If Khamzat can make Dricus question himself before the bell, the first shot lands deeper. If Dricus can make Khamzat spend emotion early, the second round breathes differently. That sneer, that grin, little tells become big choices when the cage door closes. The noise around the sport only multiplies the pressure. Broadcast deals change, exposure expands, money moves, and everybody feels the temperature rise. Bigger spotlights make small mistakes louder. Rogan has watched for years as business momentum trickles into the cage. Fighters are human, they hear the chatter and carry it with them. Altercations like this don't pop up randomly. They spark when two careers are set to collide at the precise moment the sport is surging, and both men know a win here tilts the entire narrative of the division. Technical details are where Rogan leans forward. If Khamzat nails the first clean entry, he is probably on top, and when he's on top, he collapses space so thoroughly that minutes disappear. The cage turns into a lid, the mat into sand, and every breath costs. But Dricus doesn't need pretty exchanges. He needs moments. He needs Khamzat to reshoot from farther and farther away, to punch him in the lungs, to force clinches that sap spring from the legs. He wants chaos because chaos makes excellent technicians hesitate. Rogan likes to say the best game plan survives exactly one punch or one scramble. Everything after that is honesty.
Is Khamzat going to be able to take me down? Absolutely. Absolutely he'll be able to take me down. This is how a fight works. I would hope so. Isn't he like some Swedish champion or something? I would hope he could take me down. But then he has to deal with me on the ground and he has to keep me there. Can I take Khamzat down? Absolutely. Am I going to take Khamzat down? Absolutely. I'm not scared of Khamzat wrestling. I'm not.
DDP said, Khamzat has a gun and I have a tank when it comes to strength. Last time I checked, Khamzat ragdolled, dismantled, and broke the jaw of the same man who took you down and controlled you in the very first round of your fight. But yeah, bro, you're the tank. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Now it's my time. Yeah, don't run too much. Let's wait, man.
We've seen him being as exhausted as anybody can be in a third round. This is a 5-rounder. Bring your first round. I am going to meet you in the middle and we are going to wrestle. We can wrestle that first round, the whole first round. And then we come out in that second round and we'll see what we feel like. And we can wrestle you have around a minute left in that second round, and then we're going to fight my fight. Then we're going to wrestle on my terms, and then we're going to strike on my terms.
I think you guys can expect me to get my hand raised, and that's about it.
And that'll be 8 wins in a row. And then you can sit back and watch the title fight play out between DDP and Khamzat Chimaev. Who do you think wins that fight, by the way?
I think DDP is going to surprise the world, man. He's a big motherfucker. He's fucking awkward. He comes forward. He doesn't get tired. Khamzat gets tired with small guys that were 155ers, you know what I mean, that went up to 170.
Outside voices keep adding texture. Alexander Volkanovski looked at this matchup like chess and suggested blending the offense. Mix the hands, don't spam shots, manage the tank. He respects Khamzat's world-class wrestling, but warns about running redline too long. He also credits Dricus with stubborn durability. That doesn't contradict Rogan's view, it sharpens it. Styles in MMA aren't absolute answers. They're questions you ask over time. Can Khamzat hold that suffocating pace past the early storm? Can Dricus keep making him work in ways that don't show up on the stat sheet, but empty the lungs anyway? The tape gives both sides ammunition. Khamzat has bulldozed elite names, chaining rides into elbows and opportunistic submissions that force panic. He's also looked human when dragged into long trades or when preparation and pace weren't perfect. Dricus has stumbled and then surged, turning fatigue into fuel while opponents unravel. Rogan's reaction lives in that tension. He admires Khamzat's ferocity and still reminds everyone that championship fights punish impatience. You can't sprint for 25 minutes. You can threaten for 25 minutes if you make the other guy think about drowning the entire time. That's why the pre-fight shove felt like a preview, not a gimmick. Dricus tried to make Khamzat spend early. Heart rate and pride still count. Khamzat tried to stamp the scene with that familiar look. I decide when this starts. Rogan calls this the silent round, the battle before the horn. He'll notice who stops pacing first, who's breathing smooths during the anthem, who actually listens to the corner. Details feel small until the first scramble splits. Then they tell you everything about choices under fire: hold position or chase damage, bank control or hunt the finish. Rogan's blueprint is blunt. If Khamzat times the level change and pins Dricus early, we may see a clinic in top pressure with chances for a fast stop if a neck opens or strikes pile up. If Dricus denies that first layer, fight the hands, frame, stand, reset, the math flips. Every reset adds weight to Khamzat's legs and wind to Dricus's lungs. Exchanges widen, the jab to the body matters more, and the clinch becomes a tax booth that bills by the second. The longer this stays unsolved, the more the champion's stubborn rhythm starts to look like control. And then there's the crowd, the extra fighter Rogan always accounts for. A swing that whistles past can still explode the arena. A takedown that rattles the canvas can make a veteran hurry. If Dricus walks Khamzat down and the building roars at every step, Khamzat might stand and trade longer than he needs. If Khamzat plants Dricus flat and the place erupts, Dricus might rush to stand and give up position. Human beings make emotional choices even at world-class speed, and those choices carry a cost when the clock is sprinting. None of this erases the nuclear option each man carries. Khamzat has that avalanche button, a clean entry that becomes a pin and a finish before anyone sips water. Dricus has that sledgehammer timing and transitions, the kind of punch that flips around inside a scramble. That's why the altercation did more than trend overnight. It told fans this won't be a staring contest. Both sides believe the other is coming to take his will. When belief is mutual, fireworks are inevitable, and that is the canvas Rogan loves to narrate. So where does he lean when the headset comes off? He respects the favorite because physics favors fury early, and Khamzat's storm is real. He refuses to dismiss the champion because history loves the man who will not go away. Cardio versus control, pressure versus patience, aura versus stubborn faith. The friction is the point. Rogan has watched too many nights where the bully smashed through the front door, and just as many where the house swallowed the intruder and locked the exit. That's why his tone stays curious, more than certain. Rewind the hallway and watch the eyes. Khamzat's were bright, almost happy, the look of a sprinter itching to explode off the blocks. Dricus's were calm, steady, the look of a marathoner smiling at mile 1. Either truth can be lethal. If the sprinter never fades, the race ends fast. If the marathoner drags the sprinter into hills and heat, swagger won't refill a gas tank. Somewhere in between is where champions are made. The altercation didn't crown anyone. It simply circled the finish line in red and dared both men to sprint through it. By walkout time, the takes will be stacked to the ceiling. None of them will matter. Rogan will settle into that steady tone he saves for big nights. The crowd will rise, and the fight will study itself in real time. Will Khamzat stay clinical if the first chain doesn't stick? Will Dricus stay measured if a glove smothers his mouth and seconds crawl? Will either man blink when the room goes quiet between rounds and the corners speak truths at full volume? That is the test this altercation promised. Who stays honest when comfort vanishes? If you love the sport, you love this question. Not just who is stronger, but who is truer when the air thins and the math won't balance. You can't fake how you breathe when someone tries to drown you. You can't fake how you stand after a shot hammers the guard. The hallway only amplified what the matchup already promised. Speed versus persistence, panic versus poise, the avalanche against the anvil. However it breaks, no one will accuse these two of avoiding the fire. They walked into it before a bell ever rang, and when it ends, Rogan will zoom out and map how it happened. If Khamzat storms in minutes, he'll trace the entries, rides, and pressure that made it inevitable. If Dricus turns it, late, he'll underline the small denials that stacked into a mountain. A grip peeled, a wall walk, a jab downstairs that slowed the next shot. Either way, the shove won't read as theater, but as foreshadowing. A flash of intent before the long proof. One aura tested, one will confirmed. Either way, the stakes could not possibly be higher.